Okay, this is my final attempt trying to do this tonight. I have no clue what's going on with the other setup. I have no clue if it's the camera, microphone. So I'm just going to use the computer completely undocked and see how that goes. At least it's made it better than the last stream already, so that's positive. Hello, Glass Boys, and hello, Coaster Fluid. Glad you made it back, and hopefully it's working this time. Yeah, let me just double check if the link's still up for the other one so I can redirect people over. Okay, at least people are responding, so I think this is a good sign this time. Hello, hi, and TMNT Shellraiser is my number one, pretty controversial. It's a well-rounded ride. I just wish it wasn't quite as shaky, but it's still a solid ride. Hello, Blank 3T Boy. Yep, as last time, feel free to fire questions, and I'm just praying the internet holds up this time, because like I said, I don't know what it was doing. Blank 3T Boy, did you make a bracket? Yep, I still have all my Final Four teams amazingly. Trying to remember who they were. It was Texas. I think I had Texas Tech, Kansas. Who else did I have? Arizona, although they almost lost. And I think the final one I have is Duke, unless they're playing Texas Tech. I have another 2 seed in there. I forget which one it is. First Drop Junkies, do you consider TMNT Shellraiser rough? It definitely has a shake to it, that's for sure. But I can tolerate it. Glass Boys, best wood coaster manufacturers. There are a lot of good ones. Probably the best current one is Gravity Group, though, based off of breadth and depth. Coaster Spider, when do you think Minnesota will get their next thrill coaster, and which park will get it? Probably Valley Fair, because they're definitely due for a coaster. Something like Hang Time at Knott's would be fantastic for them. Blank 3T Boy, Duke plays Texas Tech. Okay, I definitely had Texas Tech in the Final Four, so there must be one other team I'm forgetting going really far. Glass Boys, Ukrainian coasters. I'm not too familiar with the coasters in that country, unfortunately, but I wish everyone there the best. Nathan Breen, refs have not been great this tournament. Yeah, like I had Arizona going far, but I was questioning those final calls on the TCU game. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on Coaster at Lagoon? It's a solid ride. A lot of pops of airtime, and it's great seeing a ride that old running. Andy Peterson, do you think California's Great America will RMC the Grizzly? I hope so. That ride's smooth. It just isn't very strong. First Drop Junkies, how bad are the Sky Rush restraints? 1 to 10 being the worst. I don't mind the restraints as long as I have a breather in between rides. They're definitely tight, but with any restraint, that airtime would hurt because the airtime is so strong. So I'll probably give it a 5. It's tolerable, but you definitely feel them. That guy, do you have a favorite scenario in RCT Classic? I love Crazy Castle a lot, especially with the terrain, and just I'm a sucker for that castle. Joe Random, what do you think will replace Goliath at Six Flags New England? Hopefully a launch coaster, but I don't know for sure. Kentuckian coasters, do you play any games? I like playing the sports games. I play Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic, and I like Super Smash Brothers. Coaster Fluid, how tall are you? Just under 5'10". Blank 3T Boy, I Kentucky in my Final Four. Yeah, St. Peter's, that was a surprising victory, but I'm rooting for them now. I love the underdogs. Glass Boy, Zodra Q line. Very long, very unnecessary, but it's part of the Energylandia experience, I guess. That guy, have you ever recreated a ride in the game? Oh, absolutely. I've recreated several rides in that. Glass Boys, Beach Bend. Went there once, spent about 2 hours there. Kentucky Rumbler was solid. I liked the drop tower there. It was a decent park for what it was. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on Ultimate Coaster 2? I'm not familiar enough with that game to, say anything, too crazy about it. Mr. Canova, do you think Knott's will finally get a Giga? I think so. They have the attendance to support it. I've heard a few things when Knott's has plans previously submitted. The town always approves them. They might have to modify them a little bit, but It's clear they have intentions to add a big coaster. Their attendance can support it, and it'll really help with their capacity. Yoshimongo, should we re-ask our questions that were answered last time? I'm probably going to take the previous one down. So if I didn't get to your previous question, definitely ask it because I'm not going to be able to see that the old chat, unfortunately. First Drop Junkies, is Busch Gardens the nicest parks in your opinion? They're very well landscaped. I prefer some of the parks that go a little more all out with theming, such as like Disney or Universal. But they still look great. Joel Hamana, you should make a countdown video on the best queue lines. I'm not sure if I'd do that just because I don't have too much queue line footage, so it'd be a little tricky to make. Glass Boys, what will happen to Vipier? I have a feeling that ride's going to be scrapped. It didn't have the best reputation at Magic Mountain, and the fact LaRon didn't assemble it is very suspicious. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on Super Menage at LaRon? I actually found that ride decently enjoyable. I didn't find that rough, and it had a few airtime pops. I didn't mind it. Blank 3T Boy, what's your current credit count? Roughly 1,160. I don't know the number off the top of my head. Drums DW 2041. Do you think Iron Dragon will get the boot for a reconfigured line for Top Thrill Dragster? I'd honestly like to see Iron Dragon get removed just for a new ride in the future, just because that ride takes up a deceptively large plot of land. I think Cedar Point could find a way to reconfigure Top Thrill Dragster's queue without losing a ride if they want to. It's just a matter of do they want to. Like, they could enclose the queue line if needed or something. Glass Boys, new trains on Manhattan Express. I haven't ridden the new trains, but based off my experience with the Skyrocket 2 trains, you're definitely less likely to have any pain on those trains. I didn't mind the old trains because I was able to get the shoulder pads low enough that wasn't causing an issue, but I can see how people could find that uncomfortable. Glass Boys, Flying Aces or Skyrush? Easily Skyrush. Way more airtime on that ride and way more intense. Joel Hamana, is Monster Mansion the best dark ride in the Six Flags chain? I think so. It's just so unique and quirky. Coaster Fluid, Sea Viper, main solid ride. Really nice fit at the end of the boardwalk. Glass Boys, Boo Blasters. Obviously there's different iterations of that ride. In general, they're solid compliments for the park. Solid dark ride. As long as the effects are kept up. Like the one at Kings Island, I like how the system's a little different, but the effects just don't work on that one. Thomas Van Horn, do you think the IB Parks chain will be successful? I'm just hoping they don't overextend themselves by acquiring a bunch of parks too quickly, but we'll see what happens with that. Yoshimongo, what do you think about all the coaster paint jobs that have been happening in the last 6 months or so? I'm wondering if, with COVID, throwing a wrench in parks plans 2 years ago, just a bunch of paint jobs were pushed out. But it stinks seeing a ride closed temporarily, but if it allows the ride to look nicer in the long run, what's a ride being closed 3 or 4 months if it allows it to, look beautiful for the next 5-10 years? Gary T, is Cedar Fair done with Intamin? I'd like to see them work with Intamin. Until we see anything different, I have to assume they're done with them for now. Ex-coaster enthusiast, what order did you do the European parks last summer? I started off in Finland, then I went to Germany, then I made a big loop going through Switzerland, Austria, Poland, and then going back through Germany, and then made a quick little jet out to go to Belgium. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on the Intamin fart? Oh, it's a very satisfying noise because you're getting airtime. Glass Boys, Lost Gravity or Dynamite? Easily Lost Gravity. Way more airtime on that ride and a more thorough ride experience. Blank 3T Boy, what's your favorite park in Europe? It's either Phantasialand or Europa. It's a coin flip between those two. Glass Boys, Palindrome looks really cool. I'm excited to see how that stall over the road rides. Yoshimongo, do you think Skyrush will ever get modified trains like Flying Aces? It's definitely possible it could. I just don't know if Hershey Park will invest in that ride given what I think its perceived popularity is, but I hope that ride's there for the long run. Coaster Fluid, Nemesis or Nemesis Inverno? Easily Nemesis. That's one of the best inverts, whereas the other one is one of the weaker inverts. Joe Flynn, I do not think Jolly Roger's remix is a new credit. I really like the idea to retheme it, though. Joel Hamana, worst RMC iBox. Probably New Texas Giant, but again, that was a really darn good prototype. It's just RMC got better with each one. That guy, honestly, for how I rank dark rides, it's more about the theming that goes into it more than the ride system. So I don't know if I can rank, shooting dark rides versus trackless versus classic that, fairly. First drop junkies. I prefer Behemoth over Nitro. Hello, civilian satellite, and thank you. Thomas Van Horn, you've been to Clementon Park? I went once. I'm hopeful that the IB Parks group can make that park, shine and, hopefully turn Hellcat into a good ride. Glass Boy, Six Flags Magic Mountain Sky Tower. Iconic. I wish I could go to the top of it, but right now it's just, a fancy paperweight. Joel Hamana, I prefer airtime over intensity. Coaster Spider, thoughts on Europa Park's new Big Dipper coaster, Voltron? I'm excited to see, what that ride is going to do, considering it's going to have the longer trains, and if it's as long as the rumors suggest, it's going to have a lot of elements packed in. Gabe Mazurik, what's your top 5? I have a whole video on that, but you can see, you'll see rides like Lightning Rod, Voyage, Steel Vengeance, Iron Gwazi's climbing its way in, and then another one up there, Ride to Happiness. Glass Boys, best corkscrew by Arrow. If you're talking about like the pure corkscrew coasters, I was a little nostalgic for the one at Canopy Lake Park, obviously. In terms of like the individual like corkscrew element, I like the ones at Anaconda, King's Dominion, just because you take them so awkwardly slow, you get hang time, which I don't think you were supposed to get. Yoshimongo, what will replace Volcano? Cedar Fair likes working with B&M when they have to add a big ride, so something like a wing coaster might work. That guy, do you do your own captions? Yeah, I take the script and populate it in. Joe Random, Superman at New England or Skyrush? I prefer Skyrush. It's only slightly, though. I love both rides. Coaster Fluid, Arrow anti-rollbacks are one of the best sounds in the industry. Eric Thomason, I love New Texas Giant. Oh, I love the ride too. Just like I said, it's RMC just got so much better with each design. Blink 3T Boy, what are your top 3 Giga coasters? Fury, Intimidator, and Orion. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on interlocking corkscrews? I don't get too much from the visual on ride, but it really looks really cool off ride. Yoshimongo, do you think the rumors of Kulk being removed? Do you think the rumors of Kumba being removed are true? Considering the age of that ride, I have to think Busch Gardens is going to have to do something with that ride. I hope they give it the Hulk treatment, but it just depends if the park thinks the ride's marketable enough. Civilian Satellite, just want to say I'm glad you're still doing photo trip reports. I've always enjoyed following them. Yeah, I like to post those when I have time, going through my photos. I know I'm pretty far behind. Northeast Coasters, love my videos and you love the content. What kind of water slides will replace Canopy Corkscrew? I hope they add some body slides because they already have that tower of tube slides. But they could fit so much more than just one slide complex. Where Corkscrew is, they could fit more pools and everything, whatever they need. Coaster Spider, what's your favorite coaster named Corkscrew? Sorry, I'm bad with stuff like that off the top of my head. Probably the one at Cedar Point. It's a little shaky, but that airtime hill is really good. Ex-coaster enthusiast, what countries did you go to in your 2019 Europe trip? In that trip, that was mostly the Netherlands. I did some parks in Germany. What else did I do that year? I went to Spain. I went to Italy. I think those are the ones I went to that year. I might be forgetting one. Amanda Shad, what will replace Wicked Twister? I'm not sure because that's a really thin plot of land. I wouldn't be surprised if they add some more infrastructure over there, whether it be food and stuff. Last Boys, best kids coaster. There's a lot of cool kids coasters out there. There was one I rode in Europe a few years ago. It was like Cool de Hare. It was this overly themed wacky worm. It was playing the SpongeBob SquarePants theme. It had fog. It had music. It had a bunch of characters on the inside. Was it a good layout? No, it's your average wacky worm, but it was so over the top themed that I loved it. First drop junkies. I always like roller coasters. There wasn't any one moment where I became an enthusiast. I just always enjoyed them. Joel Hamana, easily Hagrid's over Fire Chaser. Glass Boys. Kings Dominion's not a Six Flags park due to the free spin. Free spins are solid rides that round out a lineup, so I have no problem seeing one there. Coaster Fluid. How do you post 3 videos a day? The review videos obviously take longer than off-ride footage and POVs. The off-ride footage and POVs, basically you just throw that in the video editor, and it takes more time to upload than it does to actually edit anything. K. Moore, if you were to get married on a coaster, which one would it be? I would not be allowed to ever get married on a coaster, so I'm going to not answer that one. Yoshi Mongo, do you have a favorite inversion? The flying snake dive on Ride to Happiness. Amanda Schad, favorite flat ride? Black Mamba, Wiener Prater. I have a whole review in that ride, but that ride was insane for the forces it pulled. Glass Boys, best Superman ride? The one at New England. Blank 3T Boy, do you think coasters like Verbolton and Cheetah Hunt should be considered family coasters? I really don't care what they're considered just because they're a lot of fun. I look more at family coasters based off height restrictions. So, for example, I think a lot of parks have that 42-inch height requirement ride to bridge the gap between the kiddie coaster and the true adult coasters. Joel Hamana, are you aware there's a plot land in Six Flags Over Georgia that's just cleaned and when they removed their water ride? That park doesn't have a 4D free spin. It also doesn't have a launch coaster. I feel like it has to be one of those two. Not quite sure what it would be, though. Coaster Fluid, what should I know about riding Max Force? Very powerful launch, and then the inversions have decent forces to them. Gabe Mazurek, Maverick or Velocicoaster? Easily Velocicoaster. The Quackens Coaster Channel, what are some of your travel plans for the rest of 2022? I'm planning to go back to Florida a few times with my fiance. In terms of and then do some of the parks up in the Northeast per usual. In terms of bigger trips, I want to go back to Europe. Haven't planned anything yet, just with COVID still being a thing. I could plan a trip to a country that I might not be allowed in, so I'm gonna wait to see how things go there about booking a trip over there. But I'd like to go back to Europe. 12 miles. How do you get to travel to so many international parks so frequently? I budget up my vacation time and use it all on one big trip when I go over there. Maki, if you could swap out the lift hill for a launch on any coaster, what would it be? For me, it'd have to be Fury. Yeah, if you had a launch lift hill on Fury, that ride would be even crazier than it already is. Hello, Hang Time Thrills. Glass Boys, the dog fart coaster. Haven't been on that one, but that theme looks really funny. If you guys could just pause the comments for a sec, I'm falling behind. Just let me get caught back up real quick. Coaster Spider, what's your highest ranked roller coaster under the height of 50 feet? I don't have my list right in front of me, but I have to think it's probably Rorosaurus, just because that ride has some great airtime. Hello, Sky Guy R12 Turn. Thomas Van Horn, will you be doing a Kings Island review this spring? I intend to get a review out for that park before they open for the year. Amanda Schad, favorite hypercoaster? Favorite ride's Lightning Rod, and technically it's a hyper, so I guess I'll say that one. Northeast Coasters. I have been to Kimball Farms for a work outing for my father a long time ago. It's a solid FEC. Not a big ice cream fan, though. Yoshimongo, Lost Island Theme Park. I'm really excited for how much theming that park looks like it has, and the ride lineup looks solid for a park that's just opening. Glass Boys, would you change your username if you find a park that tugs at your heartstrings more than Canopy Lake Park? No, just because I grew up with the park and nothing can happen that will change that. First Drop Junkies, I did not ride Pantheon yet. Hope to at some point next month. Sky Gyro 12 Turn. Don't be like what Hershey Park enthusiasts used to be. I'm not quite sure what that's in reference to, but yeah, sorry. Jabari Jones, which Busch Gardens is the best coasters? Probably Tampa now with Iron Gwazi. Solar Winds, thoughts on Raging Bull? Ride it in the back and you'll get some good airtime. Don't ride it anywhere else. Is it pronounced Wiener Prater or I know it said Wiener. I believe it's Prater, but I could be wrong. Skygar 12 turn. Yep. Yoshi's my favorite character in Mario. Joel Hamana. You can make videos no matter how many credits you have. Everyone's opinion is valid no matter how many rides you've written. Yeah, first drop junkies. Tumbali definitely looks like it has good theming. Amanda Shad, best Intamin Blitz. Velocicoaster, just it's such a well-rounded ride. Hello, Jesse Steck, Boomman 175. Civilian Satellite, what's your vote for the Slugharan coaster? I'd like to see the Gerstlauer one just because of how weird that layout is, but I feel like it might be smart for the park to go with Vekoma just because they're, more proven, more reliable, and I think that park really needs more of a true family coaster based off how popular the mine, the junior coaster was when I was there. Skyguy 12 turn to Steel Vengeance have everything you want a coaster. Amazing layout. I just wish it had a better setting. Not to say the setting's bad. It's just there are some coasters with better settings like Lightning Rod. Game Missouri. How feasible is a mock extreme spinner at Cedar Point? Oh, it could definitely happen. They have the budget for it. Hello Hi, going to Universal soon. How's Velocicoaster? Amazing. Hello Higher Power Thrills. Blank 3T Boy. Thoughts of Skyrocket 2s. Great ride for considering how small they are. Solid launch and some good airtime and hang time. Mr. Mondale, I have been to Stricker's Grove, and it was a solid park. I wouldn't go on my way to go there, but I enjoyed it. Airtime Grills, I don't like any soda, so no thoughts on mug root beer. Glass Boys, Yoshi is in the other room. Like I said, it seems like this setup's working, so I don't want to mess it up right now, considering all the problems I had earlier. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on coaster TikToks? I don't use TikTok, so no opinion. Me 33. I think Knott's will actually get the Giga. They have the attendance for it, and the park, could use that to help spread crowds out. Higher Power Thrills. I don't think Medusa will be getting new wheels, but I could be wrong. Hello, Alex Rodriguez. Scrat the Squirrel. Do you think a Boss Baby ride will open at Universal Studios Orlando? I don't know if that IP is popular enough to get one, to be honest. Glass Boys, Gold Rush or Carajo. Longer ride, but both are good. Joel Hamad, does the GP ever make you mad about their opinions? No, everyone's opinion's valid. Someone could say, like, for example, Coaster Express is the best ride in the world. Well, I don't like that ride. They're welcome to think that. Maybe they like being, maybe they like being simulated in like a bucket being shaken up, but everyone's different. Yoshi Mongo, I have not ridden one of the small 40 free spins yet. Brady Talbot, when do I think Airy Force 1 will open? Most likely sometime in the summer. That's what the park said. I don't have an exact date or anything. I don't want to give a wrong date and you plan a trip and it's not open. Blank 3T Boy, favorite SeaWorld park. With Iron Gwazi opening, probably Busch Gardens Tampa now, but I prefer the theming at Williamsburg. And if Pantheon is, an amazing ride, that might push the park back up there. Matthew Jacob, thoughts on the new mock launch coaster in China? That layout looks really cool, and I'd love to see more mocks out there. Northeast Coaster, favorite drink? Regular milk. Glass Boys, thoughts on actual beer? I'm not a big beer drinker. The only time I really drink is if I'm in like Europe, where it's oddly cheaper than water. Their beer is also better over there, but usually I just drink water when I go to parks, and so I guess that answers your question too, Quacken. Yoshimongo, how would you feel about Beast at Kings Island getting RMC'd? I'm really excited to see how this whole retrack with Gravity Group pans out, because if they can allow that ride to take it with the course at more speed, it doesn't need any more changes. Coaster Fluid, my favorite skyscraper is the Burj Khalifa. Very cool going to the top. First Drop Junkies, I prefer the blue side Twisted Colossus, and my favorite element of that ride is probably the first drop, the one you experience twice. Mr. Mondale, do you think Six Flags America will get a new coaster within the 5 years? I have to think they will. Even if it's, I wouldn't put it past them put a free spin in, considering even though King's Dominion's right there, but that park's due for one. Coaster Spider, what's one DC superhero you'd love to see for a theme? I think Flash deserves a launch coaster at some point. Don't know if it'll happen considering he's the face that or skip the line pass. Amanda Shad, best coaster by Gerstlauer is easily Schwerter's Karnan. I have a whole review on that ride. That ride has some tricks to it. It has some great theming, and it's a very wild ride. It reminds me of Sky Rush. Will G, favorite Six Flags park is Fiesta, Texas. Amanda Shad, best coaster by Vekoma. Of the ones I've ridden, Lek Coaster. That's a very intense ride. Thomas Van Horn, I'm going on my first large solo coaster trip this summer. Any advice? Definitely make sure you have time at all the parks you're going to. I know some people like to pack in as many credits per day as possible, which is fine if you've been to a park before and you know how much time you need at a park. But if you're going to a park for the first time, I kind of suggest giving yourself at least a full day, just because some parks surprise you, and so that way you can take in every little thing you see. Jabari Jones, Busch Gardens, Tampa, and good theming. Yeah, that park definitely has good theming. It really feels like you're in Africa there. Back row coasters. I'm going to make a video about RMC Hyper Hybrid, RMC Wildcat. Would that make sense? I don't even know if a Hyper RMC could even fit in that plot of land, but anything's better than Wildcat in its current form, pretty much. Game Missouri. I'm not familiar with the IAPA GCI after party, but if it's cool, that's awesome. Blank 3T Boy, most unique park you've been to? I've been to some weird parks over the years, like Washou's Highlands one, considering you have to climb all these stairs, and they have a few rides on the mountain overlooking the water and the mountains. Trying to think some other weird parks I've been to. Knoebels is another quirky one, and that's a notable one just because they're so good at what they do. Airtime Grills. What kind of launch coaster should Over Georgia get? Some like you say East Coast Racers, that would work well there because they don't have a racing coaster either. Amanda Shad, best B&M Hyper. Excluding their Gigas, Shambhala easily. Great airtime, beautiful visuals. Me 33. What's the best Disney World dark ride? I love Rise of the Resistance. Will G, favorite Six Flags park? I think I mentioned that, Fiesta, Texas. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on the Empire State Building? I went up it for the first time a few years ago. Very cool view at night. New York City is such a lively place, and seeing with all the lights from the air was definitely cool. Higher Power Thrills, Reverse Flash would be cool, even though he's a villain. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a Flash versus a Reverse Flash type of racing ride. I just don't think that's ever going to happen, but that'd be the dream. Hello, hi. Dorney Park is my home coaster. What's your favorite coaster there? I love Steel Force. I've always gotten good rides on that one. Sorry, I'm butchering the same. J4NZNH. Bacana, what's your top 3 clone coasters? Again, I'm sorry, I'm bad with naming lists like this off the top of my head. In terms of clones, I guess you can count Jersey Devil now because that ride's basically in clone. That's a good clone. I mean, heck, Terran's almost being cloned at this point. I guess that's another good one. But in terms of pure like clones that we think of, Batman the Ride's another good one. I don't care if a ride's cloned if it's good. I like the Skyrocket 2s. Filet-O-Fish, what other park should get a Vekoma flyer the most? It could work at so many different parks. I don't know which one's next. K-More, I don't think RMC will recreate the Crystal Beach Cyclone, but I think RMC is just going to keep building these awesome rides. Future games, I've heard a little bit about the new Bells Amusement Park. I haven't been following it too much, but a new park's always welcome. The Quackens Coaster Channel, how do you balance riding and getting off-ride footage? I always prioritize getting on the rides first. It's nice when you can get a lot of footage when you're waiting in line for rides, or I'll do it if I'm walking in between attractions, I see something running, I'll get it there. Or if I've been to a park many times, I will, go and get footage. For example, this past time I was at Dollywood, Lightning Rod was having a lot of problems, and we had to leave the area by 7 o'clock anyway. And we weren't going to get on Lightning Rod in time just because the time saver line was still like 40 minutes at that point. So I knew where to go to get the off-ride footage, got that footage, and kept on going. But if that was my first time at the park, I wouldn't have gotten those shots from outside the park. Northeast Coasters, thoughts on the first few rounds of March Madness? I like the upsets I've seen so far this year. I always, I might pick some of the 1 seeds to win, but secretly I'm rooting for the underdog. Amanda Shad, best park in Europe, Phantasialand or Europa. It just depends on how I'm feeling on a given day. Roland Bottiglia, what day were you at Hollywood Studios? I was there back in October. Joe Random, what do you think would be out if a JoJo roll is at the top of a lift hill? That would be freaky getting hang time that tall. I'd be in support of that. Goodbye, hi. What's your favorite ride? Fiesta Texas. Easily Iron Rattler. Love the drops off the quarry. Blank 3T Boy. If you could RMC any coaster, what would it be? My first thought is Coaster Express because that layout is so big and that ride's so bad. But guiltily, I'd probably say Wildcat Lake Compounds because that's another park that's close to me. Amanda Shad, best dark ride, Rise of the Resistance. Coaster Spider, what is the best non-Asian coaster out there you've yet to ride? Probably DC Rivals. I hope to get on that one at some point. The backward seat looks amazing. James George Washington Johnson Miles, where will the first Skyline Kiddie coaster go? Not sure, to be honest. That change tried working with Six Flags, didn't work too well. Tried working with SeaWorld, didn't work too well, but I wish them the best. Maybe one of the IB parks. Coaster Flu, which restraints crush your gut? The ones that come to mind are the Mauer X cars. Mr. Mondial, favorite defunct park. I don't have the list up in front of me, sorry. I haven't been to too many parks that have shut down. Like one that comes to mind is La Feria, but that park was definitely flawed, even though it had a really cool ride lineup. Sorry, I'm going to have to pass on that one. Alan Trotter, which park would you like to see at an RMC T-Rex? Oh, I'd like to see that at any park. I don't quite know who would do it next. Maybe Magic Mountain, considering, how, Six Flags has worked with RMC for several of their prototypes in the past. Will G. Scream at Fiesta Texas has a great view, but I don't think it's as powerful as some of the other drop towers out there. Glass Boys. Racing RMC Strata 20 inversion iBox Woody launch coaster. I don't think RMC will be making another launched wood coaster in light of a certain ride in Pigeon Forge that has issues. Jabari Jones. I've heard of Confrontation. I never got to ride it, though. Will G. Thoughts on Dr. Diabolicals? Looks like a solid dive coaster. I'm really excited to see what theming it has. So, again, I've fallen behind the comments, so just if you could wait a few minutes, I'll try to get caught back up. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Connor Ainge, heading up north this summer. Any parks besides California's Great American, Six Flags Discovery Kingdom you should check out? I'd say Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. That park has an amazing atmosphere, and Giant Dipper is a great ride. Scale 1 to 10, how would you rate Knoebel's coaster collection? Probably a 7. It has, an elite one in Phoenix. Twister's a solid ride. Impulse is good. It just doesn't have the depth of some of the other top parks. McCoodle's Films, positives or hang time? I prefer hang time. I like anything that gets you out of your seat. Future games. Imagine a B&M Hyper and Incredible Pizza Company. Unless that's featured on the unless that's actually on like the games, you're not gonna see that. Oh, sorry, I missed the super chat. Didn't show up at the top. Thank you, Hi, for the $2. Thanks for being a great YouTuber. Enjoy and got to go. Yeah, thanks again. And yeah, I really appreciate it. Coaster Fluid, when's your next park? I'm not sure when my next park will be. Probably the Virginia ones at some point next month. I don't have an exact date. If that gets pushed to later in April, probably Six Flags New England. Sky Guy R12 Turn, your love for lightning rods like Coaster Dashes, love for Rise of the Resistance. Oh, I love Rise of the Resistance too. That ride's deserving of all the praise it gets. A. Miller, what's your thoughts on skip the line systems? I like them, especially if you're coming from out of town, you don't have much time at a park, you just budget for it. It's an extra fee, but I know that going in. J4NZINH, Bacana, do you recommend traveling to Florida or California? Orlando and Southern California are both amazing. I recommend getting to both at some point. I'd say Florida right now, just given all the recent additions they've had, but both are amazing. Skygar R12 Turn, best coaster you've yet to ride, probably DC Rivals. Skygar R12 Turn, smallest park you've ever been to. It's not the smallest I've been to, but one I want to just call out for managing space so well is Adventureland in Long Island. that park is tiny, and the amount they crammed into such a narrow footprint is amazing. Skyguard 12 turn. Where is it? Back row coasters. My least favorite restraints are the comfort collars. What are yours? Um, the one that comes to mind is Rainier Rush, just because you have bulky over the shoulder restraints, and then you also have this metal bar right above your knees. So when you actually get airtime on this off-axis hill, you get your knees smashed. The other ones that come to mind are Coast Riders, Shin Guards, because it takes what should be an average to poor wild mouse, it makes it painful. Alan Trotter, what park in the U.S. is on your bucket list? Probably the Colorado parks. I like a good classic park like Lakeside, and then you also have Glenwood Caverns, which looks so weird. Will G, how much money have you spent on Oasis and things at parks? If you mean cabanas, I've never bought one of those. In terms of things, that's very vague. If I'm gonna buy something at a park, it's most likely to skip the line pass to maximize rides. But I'll also buy t-shirts, like wearing one for Zip and Pippin right now. Higher power thrills. I usually don't remember my dreams, so I don't have them too often, unfortunately. McCoodle Films, Kumba or Copperhead. I think Kumba. That ride's just so powerful. Glass Boys. Dollywood won't pay for an extreme spinner, but gives one to Silver Dollar City. To be honest, looking at the wait times at Dollywood, they need another family coaster. I wouldn't mind if they had like a mock coaster, almost like Manta. Maybe put a spinning car on that, because they need something to pull some more crowds from families. Future games. I'd like to get to Joyland in Lubbock at some point. I don't know when I'll get there though. Best country I've been to for not theme parks. Japan was really cool. Just very vibrant over there, and very friendly people, and a lot of weird things. Coaster Fluid, what do you think of a double 0G roll? Oh, I'd be in favor of that. I love 0G rolls. Me 33, best drop tower in my opinion. Tower Terror, great theming and a wonderful drop sequence. Amanda Shad, thoughts on Emperor? Looks like a solid dive coaster, and that view looks amazing. Skyguy 12 turn, scale 1 to 10. How would you rate Silver Dollar City's coaster collection? Probably an 8 or 9. It doesn't have the quantity of some other parks, but you have an elite one in Outlaw Run, another very, very good one in Time Traveler. Powder Keg is another great ride, too. Getting rejected a lot. I have not ridden every Mine Train. Will G, do you like the Joker at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas? That's a very cool pendulum ride. The queue line's awesome, too. Coaster Dash, thank you for the congrats. And what lesser-known EU parks would you recommend? Fantasiana is one that come to mind, just because that park had way more theming than I expected. Some of the other ones over there that are solid. I'm trying to think. Tripstroll is another one. I think that one's well known now. Considering they added the Halzuber Cough last year, but that was another park that was just beautiful and has a great ride lineup. Skyguy 12 turn. Have you made a video about your top 10 roller coasters in Pennsylvania? I would like to, but I want to get back to Lakemont first, because I haven't been there in almost a decade. Coaster Fluid, Thunderbolt or Pippin? Probably Thunderbolt, but it's hard to say with Pippin. Alan Trotter, what coaster would you add for Great Adventures 50th year in 2024? To be honest, well, I'd love a big thrill coaster. I'd like to see another family coaster, especially when they have Holiday in the Park. Quacken's Coaster Channel. I'd like to get to the Colorado parks this year, but I don't have a trip booked right now. Skyguy 12 turn, 1 to 10. Fiesta Texas coaster collection, probably a 9. It's just off the upper cusp of the top parks. You have an elite 1-2 punch, and then you also have Superman. The rest of the rides are clones, but they're pretty good clone coasters. Glass Boys, Alpengeist with more theming. You go so fast in Alpengeist, I think it has enough theming as is. Back row coasters, any tips to skip the lines more than once at Iron Gwazi? From what I understand, that ride's been opening a little bit before the park actually opens, so if you go there first, you might be able to get a few rides before anyone gets there. Skyguy 12 turn, what park do you think is home to the best collection of rides anywhere in the world? Probably Cedar Point, just so many coasters, and then their non-coasters are underrated too. Thank you, LU Thrills and Adventures, for the $2 and the super chat. When are you riding Pantheon? Sometime next month. I don't have an exact date though. The benefit of going down to Virginia for me, I can just plan that trip last minute because I'm driving down. Where was I in the other ones? Scott Destrempe, what's your favorite water ride? Splash Mountain easily. Love the theming and the drop. Evan Lebowitz, do you have any pets? I don't have any pets because I live in an apartment. If I go out to work, no one's there to take care of the dog. But my parents have two beautiful and mischievous beagles. Future games, scale of 1 to 10. How good is Frontier City's coaster lineup? Probably like a 4 or a 5. Diamondback's good, but it's not always open. The rest, Silver Bullet's a solid ride. The rest of the coasters are not really anything to shout about, but it's better than some smaller parks. Coaster Fluid, I'm supporting any time you add a bunch of inversions in a row that will get you out of your seat. Amanda Shot, have you played Planet Coaster? Yeah, that's one of the reasons I have a good computer for that game. That game is fun. It's not one I can just pick up and play. It's one I like to put a lot of time into, but it's a fun game. J4NZINH, Bacana, best 1-2 punch in the world. Energy Land is pretty good with Zodra and Hyperion. Cedar Point's definitely up there too with Steel Vengeance and Millennium Force. Six Flags Magic Mountain's up there with X2 and Twisted Colossus. There are quite a few up there. Blank 3T Boy, how would you rate King's Dominion's coaster collection? It's definitely pretty good. You have an elite top 2 and Twisted Timbers and I-305, and then they have a lot of depth in that park too. Will G, is there any ride you're scared to ride? Bungee jumping, just because I don't like how the restraint holds you around your ankle, because I've had a lot of ankle issues over the years. But of more traditional, well, it's not even a traditional one. Those SCAD towers, I have a whole review on it, but because I got hurt when I landed on the last one, I'm hesitant to do one of those again. Again, I got hurt completely by my own fault, but that ride was terrifying. First Drop Junkies, do you think it's worth investing in Michigan's Adventure? I hope so, because that park seems like they get decent attendance, but I think it's part of the problem where there's no other park directly in the area that they don't have to invest too much and they still get the attendance, because there's a lot of vacation areas around there. Skygar 12 turn, favorite Batman the Ride clone, probably the one over Georgia, very powerful. Mr. Mondale, I don't know when Kings Island will get their next edition, but I hope it's on the Vortex plot. Me 33, do you think America will get a Vekoma soon? If so, what park? I wouldn't be surprised if Disney goes back to them to add something on the west coast if Tron is well received on the east coast. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on getting stuck on a lift hill? I don't mind it, especially if it has a good view. Alan Trotter, if Cedar Point decides to remove Top Thrill Dragster, what would replace it? If they remove that ride, they'd have to add something big, and I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks a record. Not quite sure what would be, though. Getting rejected a lot. Why do you not have more videos on Busch Gardens Williamsburg? There'll definitely be more. I just want to get back to that park first. Glass Boys. Yeah, that fish hook coaster looked really funky, especially how small the second hill was after the drop. Sky Guy R12 turn. What do you think is the biggest difference between Zodra and Iron Gwazi? Iron Gwazi feels like it has more elements to it. Jabari Jones, easily Montu, way more powerful. Big C, what are your thoughts on Darien Lake's problems last year? I didn't go to the park last year. It sounds like their issue is related to staffing, especially because I wouldn't be surprised if they relied on some foreign workers previously, whether it be from the Canadian border or, having some people stay at the hotel coming from overseas. Hopefully they have a better year. For me, I prefer Maverick over Terran for Coaster Fluid. Filet Fish, do you prefer Grimm's Enchanted Forest at Europa Park or Fairy Tale Forest at Efteling? Easily the one at Efteling. Way more fleshed out. Sky Guy R12 turn. Best part about your favorite park? Well, it's Disneyland, so all the theming on the dark rides. Solar Winds. Favorite dive coaster? Currently Griffin. Sorry, I fell behind again. Like I said, if you could just pause a minute or two, I'll try to get caught back up. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on the CN Tower? I haven't been to Toronto, so I've just seen it. I'm watching a Blue Jays Red Sox game. Jersey, what's your top bucket list coaster? DC Rivals in the backward seat. Scott Destremp, what's your favorite ride? Canobie Lake Park. Currently, the log flume of all time, it was be Yankee Cannonball at its peak or Equinox. Skygar 12 turn, which roller coaster scared you the most? Probably one of the 4D ones like X2 or Edge Nika. Coaster Hockey Game Boy, will Six Flags New England get a new coaster? I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to get a new one in the next year or two, considering they're ripping out Goliath as we speak. Future games. If you're doing a coaster road trip, should you do FECs? For me, FECs are if I can squeeze them in. What's good about them is they usually have longer hours in the parks, but I wouldn't sacrifice a major park just to hit an FEC unless they have something special. Ahoy Boy, thoughts on Wicked Cyclone? Solid RMC. Very long ride with lots of airtime. Ahoy Boy, thoughts on... sorry, I just read that one. Last Boy says, Wild Train really have more airtime than RMCs. In terms of quantity, no, but in terms of sheer power, some of those hills are some of the most powerful of any coaster. They are legit. Joey the Gamer, favorite ride, Lightning Rod. Josh Longy, thoughts on Mr. Freeze. Very intense ride. Love the forces on the inverted top hat. Coaster Hockey Game Boy, will King to Cobb more value to enthusiasts if Dragster's torn down? I guess so, because it would be more unique, but both rides are amazing as is. Will G, I do not live in San Antonio. I'm up in New England. Blank 3T Boy, Carowinds or King's Dominion? Probably Carowinds, just because their top coasters are so good. McCoodle's Films, Nemesis or Black Mamba? Nemesis, way more forceful. Amanda Shad, best Outer Bank turn. I love the one Steel Vengeance. Skygar 12 turn, favorite coaster at Six Flags St. Louis, Mr. Freeze. Joey the Gamer, Six Flags New England is my home park. That's one of my home parks too. Coaster Fluid, I do not like pickled onions. I don't like pickled anything. Skygar 12 turns, scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate Six Flags St. Louis's coaster collection? Probably a 6 or 7. Actually, probably more a 7. It has a bunch of solid rides. They just really need that elite coaster to, move it up to the top tier. Randall Pope, I don't know what the Goo Goo coaster is. Amanda Shad, best Cobra roll. Probably the one in Hulk, very powerful. I usually gray out in that one. I'm Jersey. I don't know when Great America will get a new coaster, but they seem to get new coasters a ton there. First Drop Junkies. I don't necessarily like the pre-drop itself. I actually like the speed you get going into the drop on Apollo's Chariot and Raging Bull. Coaster Carnivore Shorts. What do you think about the new SeaWorld B&M? I hope it has a low height limit in light of Icebreaker going up to 54 inches. Filet of Fish. Should Dr. Doom's Fearfall get replaced with a different drop tower? I'd like, I think they could add a drop tower that drops you down, but I'd like to see Dr. Doom stay. There's no reason to remove that ride because Universal has, a drop tower doesn't take up too much space. Future games. I don't know when Frontier City's getting a new coaster. Sorry. Coaster Fluid. You sit at the top of Dragsters for as long as you like, or ride Lightning Rod for one day with no problems? Oh, definitely the latter. It's amazing when you can marathon that ride without any issues. Jersey, thoughts on Steel Eel? Very strong airtime to the point where it almost hurts, but I'll take that pain for that airtime. Alan Trotter, biggest bucket list wood coaster, easily T Express. I love El Toro's start. I love Baldur's airtime hills, and that ride looks like it has both. Theme parks and me. Do we think we'll get that proposed raft ride at Canopy? I have a feeling they're probably going to be prioritizing the water park soon, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Rapids rides come back because, considering how close it is to the property line, they probably don't want to build a major roller coaster over there. And Canopy has scrapped that plans a few times, so I hope it comes back. Mark Lindsay, will we ever see another 4D coaster like X2 or Nika? I don't know who will do it, but probably. McCoodle's Films, I prefer the Mosasaurus roll to Goliath stall. Coaster Rocky Game Boy. I don't know how the Reds will do this year. I feel like, the juggernauts in baseball have a huge advantage with the lack of a salary cap. So, I'm going to lean towards teams like the Dodgers making it back again or something. Coaster Dash, is the death roll as good as they say? I love that inversion. It was very violent, and it had basically like ejector airtime and laterals together. Gang rejected a lot. Best rides at Wonderland in Amarillo, Texas. Texas Tornado had some great positive Gs. Drop of Fear had a very powerful drop. They also had a pretty quirky dark ride, too. Glass Boys, first coaster that comes to mind. I guess because I'm thinking about Wonderland, Texas Tornado. First Drop Junkies, favorite coaster on the East Coast. I don't know if Lightning Rod counts or not because, it's one of the eastern states, but it's not exactly on the coast. Running down the list, I guess if not, it would probably be Iron Gwazi because I think Florida counts as East Coast. Sky Gyre 12 turns, similarities between Knobles and Playland. I'd say Playland feels more like a carnival, whereas Knobles has a really distinct feel about it. Parks felt quite a bit different, to be honest. Scott Destrempe, favorite ride ever, Lightning Rod. Skinny Jesus 3, favorite ride, Six Flags New England. Superman. Coaster Fluid, Mavericks Heartline Roll or a 10-second stall. A 10-second stall would be really neat, so I guess I'll say that one. Coaster Dash, what park is the best general ride lineup in the world? I'm going to say Cedar Point just because they have so many. Obviously, they're not themed, but they have some, an amazing coaster lineup and an underrated non-coaster lineup too. Cobra, yes, I've been on a roller coaster. Jordan Harlow, I do plan to get to Lost Island this summer. I just don't know when. Will G, will Wonder Woman Golden Lasso be too intense for kids? Yeah, that ride's pretty intense. I'd say start with some of the other rides at Fiesta, Texas. Amanda Shad, best view from a coaster. There are a lot of great views from coasters. Some of the ones that come to mind, like Electric Eel at SeaWorld San Diego, you have that view overlooking the bay. Port Aventura has a great one on Shambhala. Any of the ones at Cedar Point, like Millennium Force. Joey the Gamer, do you like Peter Griffin? Family Guy's decent. I'll watch it in the background sometimes. Oh, crap, I fell behind again. Sorry. A. Miller, Zamperla Air Races or Discoveries? Easily Discoveries. Ahoy Boy, Great Adventures Try and Fix El Toro is supposed to open again this spring. Makudos Films, best ride a marathon, including breakdowns and stuff. So I wouldn't say Lightning Rod just because that ride's inevitably going to break down. Iron Gwazi's pretty darn reliable from what I've seen. Overspeeds a little bit, but they usually get that thing back up and running soon, so I'll probably say that one, I guess. Coaster Fluid, I love zippers. I just wish I was with people who would ride them more often. Because it stinks you can't ride that ride without a partner. I do future games. I don't know where the next incredible pizza will be. Cobra, what are your thoughts on the new multi-launch coaster going to Michigan's Adventure? I'm sure it looks great in Planet Coaster. Charge on PC, thoughts on King's Dominion? I like that park. Very well-rounded lineup with an elite top 2. Glass Boys, Death Roll or Mosasaurus Roll? Probably the Death Roll. Like I said, just if you could pause in the comments, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Like I said, I think I'm 4 minutes behind on these comments. I'm Jersey. I prefer Gwazi to Velocicoaster. Blank 3T Boy, thoughts on Busch Gardens Williamsburg's coaster lineup? If Pantheon is an elite ride, then that lineup's very well rounded and pretty much complete. Charge on PC, thoughts on Grizzly King's Dominion? I've always gotten good rides on that, and I love the ride setting. Coast Rocky Game Boy, why do the Smokies have so many tourist attractions? Yeah, I guess the Smokies themselves are a big destination, so they built up a bunch of, tourist traps around it. Filet-O-Fish, smoothest coaster ever. I guess Python Efteling, that one's freakishly smooth. Jersey, favorite flat ride and dark ride. Flat ride, Black Mamba, Wiener Prater. Dark ride, Rise of the Resistance. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on Raptors brake run? Yeah, that jerking of the brake run, you definitely need a brace for it. I'm Jersey. Next park you're going to, either Six Flags New England or King's Dominion. Blank 3T Boy, best terrain coaster, my favorite, Lightning Rod. Sky Gyre 12 turn, thoughts 1 to 10. How would you rate King's Dominion's coaster collection? Probably like an 8 or 9. Coach Rocky Game Boy, if Cedar Point made a poll to permanently bring back the Heartline roll on Maverick, would you vote yes or no? I guess I'd say yes because I'm morbidly curious how it would ride, but I know that wasn't the best for the trains in terms of stress. Gang rejected a lot. Would you ever make a video counting down the top Intamin accelerators? Quite possibly if I get on all of them. Cobra, where is Wacky Worm in your top 25? Not there, although the one in Eagleland gave a shocking amount of airtime because the brakes in the station failed and my lap bar wasn't working too well. McCoodle's Films, is Gwazi your second favorite coaster? It's definitely up there. It's second or third. Sky Guy or 12 Turn, least favorite park you give a 10 out of 10 to? I don't really rank parks on a scale of 1 to 10, so I'm not sure. Sorry. Ahoy Boy, is El Toro still down? It's supposed to reopen this spring, just not sure when. Coast Rocky Game Boy, incredible pizzas. The pizza good. It's plentiful. It's average quality, I guess. Coaster Adventures, Steve or Gwazi? Steel Vengeance has the length for sure. I think Iron Gwazi has better elements for what it has, so I'd say they're about equal. Coaster Fluid, I don't really care what an inversion calls as long as it rides good. Sky Guy R12 Turn, favorite layout. I guess I have to say Lightning Rod just because that ride's so awesome. It gets progressively stronger, but another one I want to highlight is Superman at New England and Hyperion at Energylandia because those rides blend out and backs and twisters. Will G, I prefer Wonder Woman at Fiesta Texas over Superman. First Drop Junkies, favorite theme park in Europe? It's either Phantasialand or Europe. I love the blend of theming and thrills. Skinny Jesus 3, thoughts on Velocicoaster? Amazing all-around package. Great elements, super rideable. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on Maverick's launch sound? It definitely sounds imposing considering you're in that tunnel. Joey the Gamer's, King to Cost scary? If you're afraid of heights, absolutely. Cobra, would you rather be stuck upside down for 10 minutes or stuck on a vertical lift looking at the sun for 3 hours? I guess the second because I can just close my eyes. Coach Rocky Game Boy, best pizza you've ever had. I love Chicago deep dish, so Lou Malnati's. Future games, I'm not too familiar with Minecraft, so sorry I don't know on that one. Coaster Maniac, thoughts on Supergirl Six Flags New England? Solid flat ride. Some I'll probably ride once a season, but it looks great where it is. Filet-O-Fish, would you be a ride off for a day? Probably not. I'd rather just focus on riding the rides, but I appreciate what everyone does to make that possible to go on things. Charge on PC, how intense is Dominator compared to other floorless coasters? I'd say it's about on par with others. I haven't ridden in a few years though. I'm Jersey. Is Lightning Rod more reliable now with the new track? Based on my experience last weekend, no, it ran for 8 minutes the first day I was there. Granted, that was due to the snow the previous day. The second day, that ride just kept breaking down every few minutes. Well, not a few minutes. That ride it would have like an hour of downtime at a time. Coach Rocky Game Boy, have you met Chris from Maritime Thrills? I have not. I believe I've been at Parks the same day, though. Sky Guy or 12 Turn, biggest flaw with Steel Vengeance? That ride's pretty darn near flawless. The rides I prefer are just, better rides. There's nothing Steel Vengeance does inherently wrong. Coaster Adventures, thoughts on Icebreaker being the most underrated coaster? That ride has some serious power to it. Brady Talbot, favorite night ride besides the Lightning Rod? Probably Voyage at Holiday World. Coach Rocky Game Boy, which city in North America has the best and worst sports franchises? I'm biased towards Boston, obviously, growing up there. In terms of worst franchises, it's hard to say. Just I don't really want to throw anyone under the bus. Cobra, have you been on a backyard coaster that was better than El Toro, Iron Gwazi, or Velocicoaster? I have not. Glass Boys, favorite coaster park in Asia? Of the ones I've been to, the ones that come to mind are Ferrari World and Fuji-Q, again, and Nagashima has to be up there too. The latter has quantity, the other parks are more about quality. Sky Guy or 12 Turn, when I'm at the parks, I want to focus on, enjoying the day. I'll take some footage when I'm there, but I'm just not a vlogger. I'd rather compose my thoughts and process them before making a video. Crud, I fell behind again. Skygar's will turn. Chicago Deep. Chicago. I think I meant Chicago Deep Dish. I'm not quite sure what Chicago Cheap Dip is. Ahoy Boy, thoughts on Coaster Studios? Oh, I enjoy the review videos, and they film good footage. Makulos Films, how would you feel about a death roll with Mosasaurus roll shaping? That'd be very interesting. That would really throw you out of your seat. Cobra, have you ever been recognized in public? Yes, at amusement parks. Mr. Mondial, I really am hesitant to see another park add a Skywarp in light of what happened with the first few. Jersey, most underrated states as far as coasters in them. Virginia is a good one just because you have the top two of King's Dominion and Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Missouri is another one that has to be up there considering you have Silver Dollar City, Six Flags St. Louis, and Worlds of Fun forming a pretty good trio. Coaster Rocky Game Boy, I'm not sure when I did a face reveal. I guess my Q&A, but I'm not sure. Skinny Jesus, favorite non-coaster ride? Rise of the Resistance. Cobra, best Intamin multi-launch? Velocicoaster. First Drop Junkies. New Texas Giant does have a great first drop. Big C, weird question, but favorite pizza in New Hampshire? Nothing comes to mind in New Hampshire. Usually the pizza I'm getting is more in Massachusetts. Sorry. Will T, favorite dark ride in Europe? Probably Symbolica. Cobra, what's your opinion on Nitro Great Adventure without the brake run trims? So the return run has Fury 325 level of airtime when that happens, but if the brake run trim is off, that means that the first half is going to be pretty weak and slow. Appalachian Enthusiast, do you think the mixed coaster will be better or worse than Big Air? I'm not quite familiar with that model, sorry. Coaster Fluid, I don't like sugar in any application pretty much, so Randall Pope, you love flat rides? Me too. Coaster Ventures, you think motorbike ride vehicle is the best vehicle? On Hagrid's, yes. Amanda Shad, best LSM launch. I tend to prefer, the hydraulic and pneumatic launches. I forget. I have a whole video on favorite launches. I forget which one would be my favorite off the top of my head. Sorry. Filet of Fish for hotels. I have a choice rewards card, and I am loyal to that chain. I get a lot of discounts with them. Charged on PC. I have not passed out on a coaster. I've fallen asleep, and it's a small world though, but that was because of fatigue. Coaster Rocky Game Boy. I've never puked on a ride. Coaster Maniac. I have been to Otto's Pizza, and that mashed potato bacon pizza is awesome. That being said, I didn't go to the one in Harvard. I went to the one, it was north of town in Linfield, but it was pretty good. McCool's Films, thoughts on Busch Gardens Tampa removing Kumba for a dueling 40 free spin? I hope they retract Kumba. I just don't know what's going to happen. Cobra, favorite strand of grass at Cedar Point? Not sure on that one, sorry. Randall Pope, I love roller coasters out in the woods. Me too. It really helps with the whole ambiance and sense of speed. Gang rejected a lot. My favorite ride of any ride is Lightning Rod. Sorry, I fell behind again. Pretty typical for me, but where were the comments? Coaster Fluid. I would rather have Steel Vengeance in my backyard over doing a death roll 700 times in a row just to get some more variety. Oh, Appalachian Enthusiast. Okay, the mixed coaster is basically the two-loop SPF Visa spinner with a hamster wheel. I'm interested to see how that works. My concern with the hamster wheel is it didn't seem to work well when the layout turned, so we'll have to see how that goes. Stamford Bridge. I've never had Belgian fries, and when I was over there, I didn't eat anything too adventurous. Sorry. Cobra. My favorite Six Flags park is Fiesta, Texas, because of the atmosphere plus the rides. Coaster Adventures. What do you think of doing hot takes reaction from your viewers? Um, do you mean basically just like saying what are your hot takes and then grading them? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on potato patch fries? So I like my fries just kind of plain and crispy with salt in them, but they're very fresh at Kennywood and Lake Compounds. Will T, I don't know where the next Mock Extreme spinning coaster will be. I'd love for it to be Dollywood, but I almost feel like they'd add like a smaller spinning coaster because they need a family ride. Cobra, Top Thrill Dragster, an absolute adrenaline rush. Charged on PC, favorite coaster soundtrack? I like Helix at Lisaberg. Warriors Sea Monkey 16. Yeah, Wind Coaster would be cool. Busch Gardens, Tampa. Joey the Gamer. Steel Vengeance has a ton of airtime. Coaster Rocky Game Boy. I liked Phantom's old paint scheme, but you know, if the purple's fresh, I'm sure it looks fine in person. Thanks, Zoom. Thoughts on Untamed but Canopy getting lap bar restraints instead of over the shoulder? That'd be a big improvement. I just don't see it happening considering those were custom trains. Coaster Fluid. I have never rallied on a coaster. Cobra, if you had to pick, what would be your favorite theme park restaurant? I really like Shark's Underwater Grill at SeaWorld. Great food and really cool views of the tanks. Stanford Bridge. Thoughts on Bellewaerde? Basically, Busch Gardens, Tampa are families. First Drop Junkies. Most inversions you've done on a coaster? Smiler. Matthew Connell. Can you review Lightning Racer? I've already reviewed that one. I think I reviewed it a few months ago. Skinny Jesus 3. Thoughts on Batman at Six Flags New England? You know, it's not one of the stronger floorless coasters, but it's still a fun ride. Randall Pope, you want to go to Magic Mountain one day? Yeah, that's a bucket list park for anyone. Great coasters there. Cobra, I think Great Adventures should get a dive coaster. Oh, I wouldn't mind seeing one there. Dive coasters are a ton of fun. Will G, are you jealous that people can see the quarry wall all the time because they live in San Antonio? Yeah, I wish I would live closer to Fiesta, Texas. Coaster Fluid, thoughts on Oblivion soundtrack? I don't recall that soundtrack, so unless it was off when I was there or it just wasn't memorable to me. Big C, I have been evacuated from a few rides. I was evac'd from Talon's Lift Hill before, which was an interesting one. I've been evacuated off Oscar's Wacky Taxi on the brake run. I've been evacuated off the People Mover and had to walk the track before. Those are the three that come to mind. I'm sure there have been others too. Hello, Roller Coaster. Oh, Coaster Adventures. So reacting to hot takes. So I'm so far behind the comments. I don't think I could keep up with the hot takes. You're welcome to post and I'll try to get to it. Charge on PC. Do you prefer Racer at Kings Island or Racer 75 at Kings Dominion? I prefer them at Kings Island. Seems to have more airtime. Joey the Gamer. I do not like Wildcat at Lake Compounds. Very rough. Warrior Sea Monkey 16. Tigris does have a cool launch soundtrack. I'm Jersey. Thoughts on the Boomerang retheme at Hershey Park? I'm intrigued to see how much theming they add to that, because that was a pretty pedestrian ride in a great park, and if it makes it somewhat memorable, that's a win. First Drop Junkies. I do think Silver Dollar City is a top 3 park in the country. Where was I? McCoodle's Films. I prefer Let Coaster to Kumba. Stanford Bridge. Strongest memory of IMG World's Adventure. Probably how long the Velociraptor's queue line was. That was a shockingly long queue, and I'd be scared to know how long that would take if it was filled entirely. Coast Rocky Game Boy. I don't think the Packers will have a losing record as long as Aaron Rodgers is there. Joel Hamana. I prefer Magic Mountain over Kings Island. Will G. I've gotten better rides in Wonder Woman, but I feel like Railblazer should be better with the extra aesthetics of the rocks. Coaster Fluid. I would go with Magnum Force. Assuming I rode that as Chimera. I prefer Magnum Force over Magnum XL 200. Cameron Mazzelli, what's a park you haven't been to in a while that you want to get back to? I I guess Port Aventura, it's been 5 years. I don't know if that counts as a while. Another one I want to get to is sort of close to Seabreeze because I haven't been there in 12 years. Appalachian Enthusiast. What, in your opinion, what park needs a Raptor the most? I think that would work well at a park like Lake Compounce. But the park that needs it more, something like Valley Fair, Worlds of Fun, or Michigan's Adventure that have had a huge coaster drought. Matthew Carroll. Oh, you meant Lightning Run. Can you review Magnum XL 200? Lightning Run's one I plan to review soon. Magnum XL 200, I want to get a few more rides on that one first. Biggie Cheese. Roughest coaster you've been on. Coaster Express. That's long and painful. Thanks, Zoom. Thoughts on launch coaster Six Flags New England? I hope it happens. Coaster Maniac. I'm going to keep the Canopy Corkscrew profile pick. I still thought that ride was aesthetically pleasing. Cobra, you got Evac and Fury 325 at the top. That must be one heck of a walk down. Coaster Fluid. Millennium Force or Millennium Force? I'm going to go with the one that's at Cedar Point and not the knockoff one. The coolest films. Reaction to my hot take of Kumba over Steel Vengeance. If you love positive G's, that makes complete sense, but I far prefer Steel Vengeance. Will T, favorite River Rapids ride? I love River Quest at Fantasialand. It's a weird one, but I love all the drops. Joey the Gamer, what's better, Boulder Dash or El Toro? I prefer Boulder Dash because of the pacing and the setting. Stamford Bridge. I did not go to Bollywood Park just because I didn't have many rides when I was there, but I did go to Global Village. Very interesting atmosphere. It felt like Epcot crossed with a carnival. Charge on PC. Favorite wood coaster, King's Dominion? I like Grizzly. Great setting and some good elements. Coaster Fluid. I prefer RMC Raptors over Raptor. Coaster Rocky Game Boy. Are you better athletically at baseball or football? So I play a lot of Ultimate Frisbee, so I'd say football as long as it's touch. In terms of watching, probably football. No Hey Banda, how were crowds going into Busch Gardens, Tampa? I went on President's Day weekend, so it was absolutely horrendous for everything except Iron Gwazi. Next week, if you go on a weekday, it shouldn't be too bad because I think spring break is wrapping up for them, but if someone in Florida will be able to answer that more intelligently. First Drop Junkies, little brother trying to get in coasters, any tips? I'd say work your way up. That way you don't have a scarring experience in a big one. Ahoy Boy, do you like the Kansas City Chiefs? Not necessarily a big fan of the team, but Patrick Mahomes is exciting to watch. Cobra, Great Escape could use a Raptor. I'd enjoy seeing one there. What's his face? Do you shout anything weird or cool whenever you ride coasters? Not really. I tend to ride them a little quieter than other people, but I still enjoy them. Coast Rocky Game Boy, should RCCA layout designers be banned from any form of job in that career? So it's not just the layouts with those rides that have issues. It's also, the build quality. So there were a lot of issues there systematically. Coaster Fluid, I prefer Afterburn to Raptor. More forceful and a smoother ride. Cobra, favorite theme park bathrooms? The one at Lagoon that has that sign with a toilet that spins on a pedestal. That's pretty funny to see. Coaster Fluid, inverted Raptor or wing Raptor? The inverted one. Will G, I have been stuck on rides before. I mentioned a few minutes ago which ones I've been evac'd off of. No Hey Banda, do you think American enthusiasts have bias for East Coast parks over West Coast ones? You could say it made the East Coast ones because more people tend to get on the rides there, but on the other hand, people sometimes rate things higher just because they're harder to ride. So I don't necessarily think there's a bias either way. Stamford Bridge, what do you think of Big Bad John? Great final drop and the best ride, Magic Springs. Chris, Animate, yes. Coco Melon, Diamondback or Orion, easily Orion. Coaster Adventures, thoughts on St. Peter's winning it all? I'd love to see that. I just don't know if they have the firepower to do it. Charge on PC, I think Verbolton is more intense than Apollo and Griffin. Do you agree? It definitely has more positive G's. I think the other two are hard to beat, from an intensity standpoint, just because, they're bigger rides with a lot of airtime. Joey the Gamer, Simpsons or Family Guy? Probably equal for both. Coaster Fluid, Applesauce is too sweet. Appalachian Enthusiast, Thunderhawk or Raptor? Raptor. I'm going to take Raptor over any SLC, including Great Nor'easter. Joey the Gamer, I don't like Mountain Dew or Red Bull. Coaster Fluid, Phobia Fear is better than Tepesto just because of the restraints. And, I also like the little pre-launch audio they do. Coaster Maniac, your friend's terrified of coasters. How should you get them on one? Start small and work your way up. McCool's Films, have you gotten on Ripsaw Falls? Yeah, that ride's shockingly soaking for a log flume. The theming feels a bit tacky at points, but it's definitely better than nothing, and the drops are amazing. Matthew Connell, what is the stronger airtime you've ever experienced on a coaster? There are specific moments that come to mind. Like, I mentioned Wild Train earlier because those hills are shockingly strong. RMC is a very powerful airtime. Intamins do as well. It's hard for me to... Oh, best airline, sorry. Oh, sorry. The comment under that is best airline you've experienced. I don't know. It's hard for me to say if I have a best airline. Usually I just go for where everyone's cheapest. Coaster Adventures, thoughts in Florida having the best top 3 coasters? I don't know if they have the best top 3 coasters of any state, but it's definitely great how you have such a diverse lineup between, having Iron Gwazi for the fast-paced RMC, Velocicoaster for that well-rounded thrill coaster, and then you have all the floater airtime you could want with Mako. Chris Animate, yes, Coco Melon. I prefer Montu over Banshee, sorry. Will G, I haven't ridden Streamliner since it was rethemed, but I had no problem riding that one, a few years ago. Skinny Boy 1000, I prefer Top Thrill to King Dakar because of the view and restraints, but both are great. Joey the Gamer, I don't like soda. Charge on PC, if Lightning Rod had the same layout but was in a warehouse, would it still be your favorite? Probably not if you took the setting away, but it still rate very highly for me. No Hey Banda, do you usually get the Fast Pass edition when you visit parks on vacation or internationally? Yes, if they have heavy crowds, and I know I'm not going to be there that often. Will T, least favorite ride, Fantasialand? I'm not a big fan of Geister Rickshaw there, but most of the rides there are great. Coaster Fluid, I prefer Great Adventures El Toro easily over the one in at Plon. Appalachian Enthusiast, would you buy a park no matter the size of over $50,000? I'd probably rather invest in just traveling, just because of how the rides I'd want to have in a park would cost way more than the budget I'd have. Ahoy boy, I don't know where Cam Newton will go, sorry. Roller Coaster, you were in Michigan State's band this past tournament. What are your predictions for the rest of the tournament? So I had Arizona winning and all. I don't feel too confident in light of them struggling with TCU. I don't think Gonzaga's going to go, win it just because they've struggled a lot too. Kansas has looked pretty good so far, but not quite sure. I'm just enjoying watching, and I hope more upsets happening. Stanford Bridge, I don't have immediate plans to go to Turkey. I'd like to at some point. Coaster Fluid, Velocicoaster's launch or Mavericks? Probably Mavericks, but they're about equal in my opinion. Coaster Hockey Game Boy, should Raptor and Cedar Point be converted to an RMC inverting Raptor? The latter probably sounds better, but Raptor's fine as is. They don't have to touch it. McCool's Films, most intense B&M hyper besides Orion. For the most intense B&M hyper, probably Goliath at over Georgia because of that super intense turnaround and the lack of trim brakes. Will G, who's your favorite YouTuber? I like any, I look more for specific types of videos. Like I enjoy review videos and countdowns. What's his face? Discovery Kingdom, Medusa, or Joker? Joker. I love the airtime in that ride. Joy, least favorite coaster is Six Flags Great America. I guess Little Dipper. There's nothing wrong with the ride. It's just I'm not the target audience. There really isn't a bad ride there. No Hey Banda, what's your occupation? I'm an engineer. Coaster Fluid, Fury 325 or Fury at Bobbejaanland? Fury 325. Far, far more satisfying ride. Joey the Gamer, the worst ride I've been on is Coaster Express. Just listen to my review if you want to hear me rant about a ride. Excuse me. Mr. Slice 2244, what's your favorite RMC? Lightning Rod, my favorite coaster. Warrior Sea Monkey 16, you've heard rumors about Phoenix opening back up at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Yeah, I've seen that ride testing, so hopefully that means it's going to reopen. Coast Rocky Game Boy, what would happen? What would I do if the New York Jets beat the Patriots in any form of the football game? You know, the Jets play so often, it's not surprising when they beat us, even though that team's easy to make fun of. Joey the Gamer, favorite row in Superman. Assuming you mean the one in New England, ever since it got the new wheels in 2019, the back row. Mr. Mondale, favorite fun spot park? Currently Kissimmee, but that could very well change once Atlanta gets the RMC. Will G, worst ride at Fiesta, Texas. I can't think of a bad ride I've ridden there. Just some rides are better than others. Will T, when did you first visit Six Flags Great America? My first trip was in 2017. Solar Winds, what type of music do you listen to? I more listen to podcasts when I'm listening to things. Meme to Meme She. Schwarzkopf Wildcats or Wildcat Lake Compounds? Easily the Schwarzkopf ones. Way smoother and more enjoyable. Coaster Fluid, RMC is overrated. I really like RMC, but, everyone's welcome to, their own opinion. Stamford Bridge, how many days would you say a first-timer needs at Port Aventura? If you get the Express Pass, you can probably do all the rides in a day. If you want to do the shows as well, you definitely need to eat into a second day. Dolphin, am I hot? I love dolphins, I'll say that. Coast Rocky Game Boy, best, most hilarious garbage bins you've seen. I like the ones at Efteling where you have that guy that sucks in the trash. So I'm probably going to start wrapping up. So as you can see, I had to do a slightly different setup than usual, and my laptop's about to die. And there's no charger where I am right now because I'm near the modem. And all those ports are taken. So I'm going to answer any question that's timestamped as of 9:12 or before. After that, I'm going to be done for the day. So, thanks again for listening in. I'll, like I said, I'll answer any question that's timestamped 9:12 or previous. Coaster Fluid, lightning rod on fire or your house on fire? I guess I'd say lightning rod on fire because hasn't that happened before where the ride started smoking? Coaster Maniac, if Dragster's removed, I think they should get the new SNS axis. I feel like if they remove Dragster, they're going to put something big in the skyline that might take back the height record. Joey the Gamer, love your videos. Thank you. Will T, what podcast do you listen to? I said podcast, basically like I'll have like YouTube coaster videos on queue and listen to those while I'm driving and stuff. I'll also listen to some sports videos. Really, whatever I'm interested in at a given point. Matthew Connell, how would you rank the best airtime between Wild Train, Coaster at Playland, EGF Camelbacks, Superman the Ride, Four Hill, Iron Gwazi, Skyrush, El Toro, Steel Vengeance, Twisted Timbers, Lightning Rods Quad Down, or RMC Raptors? It's very hard to rank all those airtime hills. All those airtime is very strong and amazing. It's hard to rank those off the top of my head. Sorry. Joey the Gamer, KFC or Popeyes? Popeyes for the chicken, KFC for the sides. Mr. Mondale, should Elitch Gardens get a Skywarp? I'm really hesitant to see any other park get a Skywarp right now. Sorry. Just because of how bad the first two were. Goodbye, Coaster Maniac. Solar Winds. Thank you for checking in the stream, and I enjoy doing these. Mr. Slice 224, favorite European park, either Phantasialand or Europa. I love both those parks. Coaster Fluid, Dolly Parton dead or Lightning Rod closed? Okay, I don't wish anyone dead, so obviously Lightning Rod closed. I hope Dolly, stays alive. I don't really wish, like I said, don't want to wish death on anyone. No coaster is worth more than the life of a human being. Coaster Rocky Game Boy, best Cedar Fair theming. I really like Frontier Town at Cedar Point. So I'll answer this last one because I'm guessing it was submitted with the slow-mo that stopped it, but this will be the last question. How would you rank, from Joy, how would you rank Phoenix, Boulder Dash, and Ghost Rider 1, 2, 3? So I'd actually put in that order: Phoenix 1, Boulder Dash 2, Ghost Rider 3. Goodbye, Joey the Gamer. Goodbye, Will T. And thanks again, everyone, for checking in. Sorry for the technical issues at the start. I I guess it was my webcam acting up, so I'll have to just be more cognizant of that in the future. And yeah, glad this ended up working out. So see you guys. Bye.